Okay, ladies, welcome to my video. I want you to notice that it says Honors Advanced Geometry, but I wanted to ensure that I did all of the challenging problems, and therefore anything that is a little bit more simple would be easier after doing this video. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start with number 1. I will do number 4. I will do 3. And then I will do 5. So number 1 says r cubed is greater than or equal to 43. So really just r cubed greater than or equal to 43. And I'm done because the question is asking for an algebraic expression and not us to actually answer. Number 4, it says the sum. So the sum I know means plus. A number, we don't know what it is, so you could put a question mark or n for number. And 6 is equal to 9, so I'm going to say n plus 6 is equal to 9, and I am done. Okay, number 3, the key word here is a quotient. So quotient we know means division, so k and 3, so the quotient of k and 3 is less than 36, and I am done. And again, we're not answering any of these questions because it's an algebraic expression. Number 5, last but not least, the 8th power of n, so n to the 8th is 48, and I am done. Okay, so the next section says evaluate each expression, so you are actually going to be using PEMDAS, or order of operation in this case. So I'm going to do number, I think you guys will be okay with number 6. So I'll do 7, and I will do 8, and I will do 9. So 7, we know that addition and subtraction kind of go together, and multiplying and division also go together, and we're going to do it from left to right. So in this case, I'm adding first. So 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. And some of you may say, well, I could have subtracted 6 minus 6 first and then added the 3. And that's true in this case. But in general, we are going to add and subtract in order from left to right. So had, for example, the problem been 6 or 3 minus 6 plus 6, I would have done the subtraction first, which is negative 3, plus 6, which is still 3 in this case, which didn't change our answer, but I just want you to be aware that sometimes it does. So rule of thumb, go from left to right, even if it's adding and subtracting only or multiplying and dividing. So let me change my color back to, well, I'll start with blue. Number 8 says 8 divided by 2 minus 8 plus 7. So let's work with the fraction first. So 18 over, what's 2 minus 8? I'm getting negative 6 plus 7. I am, in fact, adding fractions, so I know my rule has to be the same denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and write 18 over 6. I'm going to put the negative on the very top because that's usually what we do. Just makes it easier. Usually it goes on top. Plus something over 6. So I know that I multiply, my denominator for 7 is 1. And so I multiplied it by 6 to get 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So my top number in this case would be 42. And then negative 18 plus 42 is actually 24 over 6. And it is positive because the 42 is a bigger number. And 24 divided by 6 is actually 4, and that is my answer, and I am done. Okay, number 9, there's a few things there, so there are parentheses. So I noticed that these two negatives are being multiplied, right? It says negative times a negative. So I'm going to do that first and say negative 11 times 2 plus 10, so that I can get rid of all those parentheses. And the denominator would be negative 2. What's the negative 11 times 2? So I'm doing these two first. Negative 11 times 2 would be negative 22 plus 10 over negative 2. And negative 22 plus 10 would be negative 12 over negative 2, which is in fact a negative divided by negative, is 6. And I'm done. Moving on to the next section, I'm evaluating each problem using the values given. So number 10, I was given m is equal to negative 2, p is equal to 7, and q is equal to 6. So negative 2 times my q, which is 6, times p, which is 7, plus a negative 2 plus a negative 2. Now, I didn't add any parentheses because I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that the problem has a plus and a plus here. So make sure you have a plus and a plus there. And I'll make this a little bit darker so you can kind of see it. Okay, so using order of operations or PEMDAS, I know parentheses is first. So let's do that first. So I get 7. I can combine these two numbers because negative 2 and a negative 2 is a negative 4. And I can combine the outside, which is negative 2 times 6, which is negative 12. So now I can still do my parentheses, negative 12 times 3, and my answer is going to be negative 36. And the same goes for number 11 or so on. Oh, number 11 looks a little bit more difficult because of the absolute value. So let's say I actually have 7, absolute value of negative 3 minus 5 plus 10. I'm going to do the absolute value first. So negative 8, absolute value times 7 plus 10. And so the absolute value of negative 8 is actually 8. So 8 times 7 plus 10, and we're going to read from left to right. So we have 56 plus 10, and my answer is 66. Now for the next section, it says name the set or sets to which the number belongs to. That's your real, rational, irrational, integer, whole number, whole, and natural numbers. So let's start with 12. If you are confused about these definitions, there are your notes online. You can Google it if you wanted to, or check my notes out on Teacheries. So number 12, you have 0. 0 is actually a real number. It is also rational because you can make it into a fraction. And it is actually a whole number as well as an integer, but not a natural number or irrational. Number 13 is a negative 5, so again, same thing, real, rational. It is an integer. It is not a whole number because I cannot go to the store and get negative 5 apples, and I cannot teach my nephew counting by negatives. It's not natural, so that would be the answer here, and these 4 would be my answer for number 12.